At this moment, the world has entered the Ice Age. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401. This is the main center of the Longqing conference room. Now, the atmosphere here is completely different from before. Here it has been restored again, since it has been brave and capable, because everyone knows that a new era is coming again. So every team leader is very motivated. They are like fighting Ying Ziyue in the Ice Age. Everyone is still excited. Ying Ziyue stood straight. Behind him, the group leaders started to report in real time. Leader of the report. The southern city has now entered the city of the sky and the core management device has been opened. This means that this city has opened a new era, and it also means that every piece of defense can be attacked, and effective and perfect control. As the southern city manager Suzuki opened his mouth, the atmosphere of the presence began to change. This is an exclusive era of pride and excitement. At the same time, satellite images appeared, and a panoramic view of the east and southern city appeared in front of everyone. This is a southern city. When the high-rise buildings even appeared, the expressions of everyone present changed a bit, because everyone's network saw the most shocking one in history. Futuristic city. These are the cities in the south, where the giant cities are lined up in order, and amazingly every tall building in these southern cities is connected. Every building is connected. Then all the high-rise buildings in the city seem to be connected, and then connected to form this majestic and shocking building. So this created a scene in front of us. That is, in front of us. It seems that this is a building that has turned into a city, so it looks so majestic to its limit. People can't help being shocked and excited as long as they witness an epic level building. This is the southern city. At the same time, the hot blast furnaces, wind turbines and other devices in the southern city were all turned on, this time in response to Ying Ziyue's words. It can be said that this new era has been directly opened. At the same time, the northern city was also opened, and the manager of the northern city was called User Jiang. He also quickly started reporting. Report team leader. The northern city core management system has activated. The northern city core equipment and the giant's paradise and other equipment are all turned on. The north can enter the control equipment and combat equipment, and now in the satellite image, the northern image is on, and the time is different from other cities. The northern cities are like springs, one city after another. One tall building undulates. Those giant cities look magnificent to the extreme. They look shocked to the extreme. It seems that this will be the most shocking and stunning building in history. The ultimate picture of this scene seems to be leading the entire era. It can be said that in the southern cities, those high-rise air corridors are connected to form a city, while in the north, a high-rise building is entwined. Just like those towering buildings. Zero fine flowers. Some are as high as 1000 meters or even 3000 meters high. The huge buildings are huge in size. These are two different giant cities. After reporting the two cities, Ying Ziyue nodded. The layout of the two cities in the north and the south is extremely important, and now he can relax. Leader of the report. At present, the energy stored by lighthouses around the world can be used for nearly 80 years. At present, in order to welcome the Kunlun conference, each lighthouse has been turned on. That is, before the Kunlun conference is opened, all the lights will be on. It lasted for 7 days and 7 nights to escort this mission. Jiang Ziyue, the main person in charge of the global lighthouse, also spoke. Jiang Ziyue is the lighthouse in charge of the world. The lighthouse is extremely important. Lighthouses are divided into water train lighthouses, sea lighthouses, outdoor lighthouses, no man's land lighthouses, urban lighthouses, and so on. Each lighthouse can be said to be a testimony of human civilization and the crystallization of human beings against darkness. Therefore, lighthouses are extremely important. After she reported, Ying Ziyue nodded. Now his smile is more relaxed. Before the Kunlun Mountain Conference, the layout of the new era is complete. Some people prepared this conference for 3 years. The previous station conference was a chess piece, but now it is the final move. Death. Chapter 402. Now, satellite projection images. Global lighthouses appear. The satellite image appears in detail, that is, on any wasteland in the world at this moment. Along with those giant lighthouses begin to light up. The clear light shines on everything. Even in daylight, the lighthouse is still lit, illuminating the wind and snow. The extreme harshness. The weather is no longer horrible, nor is it a nightmare. At the same time, on the sea, in the violent wind and waves, another tsunami impact. Seeing the lighthouse lit up and shining above the sea again, the icebreakers that traveled no longer felt fear. In Africa, in the Antarctic, in the North Pole, in no man's land, in the agricultural base and industrial land, lighthouses are shining proudly, illuminating the roads and shining with an elf-like light. This is the amazing power of the East Point. It can be said that at this moment, before the start of the Kunlun competition, the lighthouse was shining with the brightest light, telling the world that this is one of the manifestations of Eastern power. Leader of the report. At the same time, all the icebreakers around the world have moved towards the Pacific Ocean platforms and docked at the Antarctic, North Pole, North Sea, Africa, and other sea areas. All sea platforms have moved to the offshore areas. It can be said that the next offshore platforms will be because of these icebreakers. The connection has become a giant offshore device with a total coverage area of 1,000 kilometers. At the same time, before the Kunlun Mountain Conference, offshore platforms will appear and will be formally connected. Every icebreaker will start to play military songs and put red flags on it. Mark N, the commander of the Glacier icebreaker, spoke. After he spoke, a new scene of satellites appeared. Point at the same time. In the satellite image, this is a new scene. It can only be seen in the seas all over the world. Those waves are close to hundreds of meters high, and even the most dangerous seas are thousands of meters high in diameter, which is simply a terrifying coverage. Point faced with this approach to despair, the icebreaker can only penetrate from the bottom and use it like a submarine. It can be said that this is how terrible the ocean is, and how desperate it is. However, just in this bad and perverted environment. Point the eastern icebreaker began a roaring sprint, and then headed to the flat surface at sea. This is the greatest witness and the greatest shock of the current new era. Leader of the report. The current global airships, global flying chariots and other flying devices are flying to major cities in the east. Red flags are planted on every airship in the airport, and every flying chariot is carried with them. The huge task is to participate in the Kunlun Mountain Conference. Zhang Aguo, the global airship chariot, the chief aviation officer, spoke. He was excited and extremely excited. After he finished speaking, Ying Ziyue closed his eyes. The platforms on the sea have begun to converge, and the airships in the sky are not to be outdone. He can imagine thousands of ships, tens of thousands, those countless airships. Those flying groups seem to be giant eagles, flying giant birds. They are coming to freedom, and the scenes of this scene are also extremely shocking. Now, Ying Ziyue smiled at the corner of her mouth. Point at the same time, at the end of the conference room, that is the Minister of the Information Department, who is in charge of global news, and he couldn't help but speak excitedly. The director of the report. The current global news ranks first, which is from the global people as follows. News projection appears. The world's most sought after news is Oriental Kunlun Mountain Conference. This meeting will determine that the Earth will enter the 0.99 level of secretarial work. The popularity of this meeting is extremely high, and the degree of popularity is also extremely high, and a lot of people are paying attention. At the same time, the comments below represent every comment. The first comment comes from a farmer from the Western Eagle country. He is responsible for the cultivation of agricultural greenhouses. His comments are as follows. I just want to say the East, the power they showed is too terrifying. When they sent out this conference, countless airships went to countless aircraft carriers, as if it was a terrifying and great era, and the cohesion of the East was simply, this is not the most important thing. I think the most important thing is that every one of the MADS airships under extreme weather and drives flying chariots under extreme conditions for this task. They are fearless. Eastern the spirit is the most terrifying. They are fearless of all disasters. This is a message from the people in the West. People all over the world are paying attention to Kunlun Mountain. This is the beginning of a great era. Chapter 403. Now in the center of the conference room, an impromptu meeting has come to the end. Now the protagonist is in the first seat of the conference room, and then he stands up. His black military uniform is almost like a dragon scale on him. Cold, stunning, arrogant. He is like an ancient soldier, carrying out the development of this era, with handsome figure and proud temperament. Ying Ziyue speaks. Everyone, it is the 30th of December in the 22nd year of the glacier. There are still 36 hours before the Kunlun Mountain Conference. Next, I hope that Kunlun Mountain will see all of you. This may be the last time we meet in this world. Because everyone will have to shoulder heavy responsibilities in the future, and they will make progress for one great human civilization one after another. After Ying Ziyue finished 02, when every group leader stood up, they were also performing the final salute. After this report, everyone would go to Kunlun Mountain Point. Now the data of each item clearly appears offshore platform, located in the Pacific Ocean, southwest latitude 770.290.771.396, with a sea depth of 4729 meters. The fixed wing platform is the most suitable for building flat aircraft carriers. At present, the world's major icebreakers are icebreakers, except for some warships that cannot be returned for special missions. It can be said that all the icebreakers of the new era and new civilization in the east have all gathered point. As for western steam engine ships, they are not eligible to enter offshore platforms. The current number of eastern icebreakers is 270,000. At present, the number of aircraft carriers in the eastern new era is 2,729. At present, the total area of offshore flat panels has reached 950 kilometers at present. Frigates, main gunships, and other destroyers, etc., are equipped with strategic warships, and the total number of tankers is 100,000. This is the first maritime defense of the East Pacific offshore platform, which integrates attack data into one platform. At this moment, the report of the Pacific Offshore Platform Center is complete. Then the detailed Western data projection appeared. The number of greenhouses in the West, poultry, vegetables, and citrus crops totaled 390,000 greenhouses, occupying 2/3 of the total area of Rose Country. And more than 6,000 islands occupy 2/3 of the area. The Western Agricultural Factory has 12,763 factories, occupying the entire area of the Eagle Country. The remaining areas are fixed areas for some of the world's 12 engines. It can be said that the East has developed the agricultural industry to the extreme. After all the data appears, Ying Ziyue sighed. His voice resounded. See you in Kunlun next. We will start a 0.999 level civilization in the first city. This may be the last time we meet. Remember, for the country and the people, being selfless, it's worth it. At this moment, Ying Ziyue's temperament is completely finalized. He is a very direct patriot, cold, firm, without a trace of distractions. There is only one thing in his eyes, and that is to serve the country and the people. These are one of the reasons why they were highly cohesive in the Ice Age. Everyone present also stood upright, then shouted for the country, for the people. Well done. At this moment, a proud aura broke out, and a new era had arrived. Screen switching. This is Kunlun Mountain. Kunlun Mountain is a huge mountain in western Shaanxi. It is also called the first sacred mountain of Kunlun Zoo, the Holy Mountain. It spans 4 areas with a total length of 2,500 kilometers and an average elevation of close to 61,000 meters. However, after the Ice Age, the total length reached 4,000 kilometers, the average altitude reached the lowest 6,000 kilometers, and the highest 8,000 kilometers. It is a sacred mountain second only to Everest on land. Kunlun Mountain is more like a mountain of gods because of the mountains. It is known as the ancestor of dragon veins in ancient times, and it is also called the residence of Kunlun Mountain. West Queen Mother. West Queen Mother records a human head and leopard body with 2 bluebirds serving. This is the Taoist Zhengtian and the Eastern Prince respectively in charge of the men and women to cultivate immortality point. So it is called a mountain. This is a record of Kunlun Mountain Point. But after the Ice Age, this place has not only become a holy mountain, but has become a forbidden place for wind and snow point, because those ditches in the mountains, and filled with wind and snow appeared taller. Stones and snow-capped mountains began to merge, forming a complex undulating mountain that spans 4,000 kilometers point. But now around Kunlun Mountain, blizzard chariots, flying chariots, and giant snow shoveling robots are all coming. Chronicles of the Glacier. At the end of the 22nd Ice Age, the season still did not appear here, and the temperature here is still -50 degrees. Now the offshore platform gathers, the airship airport gathers, a new era of drainage appears, and now all gather in Kunlun Mountain, just for the world to enter the 0.9999 level civilization. Chapter 404. Now this time, remember the whole world, that is now, January 1st 23rd Ice Age 6:30 am. The reason why human beings can remember civilization is because there is time, calendar, chronicle, etc. Therefore, humans can clearly record the passage of time, but in the Ice Age, whether it is 6 am or 12 o'clock midnight, the temperature is the same point. It's just grey black during the day and jet black at night point. And now, the global focus is on Kunlun Mountain Point. The first ship appeared in the sky at this moment. This is a very large airship. The Zhulang airship can hold nearly 5,000 people. Airships are 10 times the size of passenger planes in civilization. It can be said that when the airship appears in the sky, it seems like a giant alien warship appears. When this airship appeared, on the observation deck inside the airship, a man wearing a black military uniform with no creases in the military uniform appeared. This was a man who could truly be called a monster now. This man is standing here quietly. He carried an ancient breath, as if he was born for this era, and as if he lived for this era. When Ying Ziyue appeared here, the cold breath of Kunlun Mountain seemed to fade. Now Ying Ziyue's eyes are cold. He ordered half a year ago to build a panoramic meeting room on the 12th peak of Kunlun Mountain. It has now been completed, but the meeting room is hidden in the wind and snow. But as he ordered later, this panoramic mountain meeting room appeared. The meeting room with a panoramic view of the 12th mountain range of Kunlun Mountain appeared, and Ying Ziyue looked behind him. Li Hao, the engineer behind him, gave a report. Report team leader. All warships and warships on the Pacific offshore platform have been docked. The large airship flying chariots, etc. in our country are all scattered across the major airports, and the special flying chariots and airships have already arrived near Kunlun Mountain. At present, 10 flying combat vehicles of the Northern Army, Blizzard combat vehicles, Blizzard tanks, and defense robots have all arrived in Kunlun Mountain, and Kunlun Mountain has been guarded and blocked. At the same time, Western Agricultural Eric, Industrial Alex Rob, and the top 10 owners of 6,000 islands are here at the same time. Antarctic Scientific Research Station, Offshore Platform Scientific Research Station, Siberian Scientific Research Station, Mount Everest Platform Scientific Research and other management team leaders all came. Do you want to start a global news broadcast now? The engineer Li Hao stood straight, and he reported with all his strength. Let's open it. Before the Kunlun Mountain Conference, let the world see our progress of this conference. Ying Ziyue held his hand, and he spoke, like a giant. Receive. At this moment, after the engineer Li Hao finished his report, the atmosphere completely changed. Live links began to appear on every mobile phone, every airship platform, every radio, and every Western computer present. That is the live broadcast titled, Before the Start of the Oriental Crimson Conference Global Sign. At this moment, the first scene appears. Here is Antarctic Research Station. At first glance, it was accompanied by the cold wind. The endless cold wind was whizzing, as if tearing everything apart. The terrifying snow-capped mountains were collapsing, the icebergs were collapsing, and the signs of human civilization were all shattering. Under the iceberg that is hundreds of meters high, there are buried layers of human civilization in the past, which is full of despair and wailing. So when the scene of this scene appeared, the live message was from the people in the West. The people in the East didn't feel much about it, because the East was in a landlocked country in the northern hemisphere, and they didn't know how the Antarctic and North Pole felt about them. But Western people are different. Many people have traveled to South Glacier. They know how desperate Zeng, good Zao is here. So every message from the public is complicated. Rules, I know this place. I traveled here during the civilization period. It has the light of the polar region, but now scared. It's really a sad era. Could it be that the East really went to the South Pole to open up civilization? It's impossible. You know, Noah's Ark there has been frozen, and there is a real forbidden land for mankind. If thrown into the universe, it is also the most terrifying area. This is the saddest and most desperate time to show, but a new live broadcast of Antarctica appeared. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405. Just when the people in the West are desperate for Antarctica, the live broadcast picture started to change. This is a satellite from above Antarctica. When this live broadcast appeared, the people present in the West knew only one vocabulary point, that is what is meant by a great country leading a forbidden land. I saw in the most central and coldest area of Antarctica, there are countless snow-capped mountains and countless icebergs next to it. Snowflakes are flying. The collapse of the iceberg, the atmosphere of horror permeated the audience. Those cold currents seem to be able to freeze everything, and those 10,000 years of ice can almost pierce everything. This is the real forbidden place for mankind. There was a gust of cold current and a gust of wind, in which humans seemed to lose their way instantly, and then in the endless ice and snow forever. In such an extreme environment, in such a harsh environment, this moment a new scene appeared. That is, a giant slab with an area of nearly 2 kilometers appeared. It is also an offshore platform. Human airships appeared on this platform. From flying chariots to flying chariots, Gundam robots and icebreakers one after another. At the same time, hundreds of red flags were planted in all directions. The banner says, Yan Huang. This is not the most shocking. The most shocking is at the center of this platform. I saw high-rise buildings rising on the ground. They stood in the wind and snow. The cold wind roared. The wind generators roared in them. The giant tanks roared in the group. And everything on the Antarctic platform in front of them became the South Pole. The most terrifying and shocking scene above. At this moment, the Antarctic Scientific Research Station provided the best proof for this Kunlun Mountain competition. That is, they did not disappoint the country. For their hopes, they succeeded in building the first Ice Age Antarctic Research Station in Antarctica under this blizzard and stormy weather. At 6 AM on January 1, 23rd year of the Ice Age, the first ice research station in Antarctica has been completed, equipped with flying chariots, blizzard chariots, Antarctic robots, and small rail trains. This has become the greatest hope for mankind, to fight against disasters for the first time. At this moment, under this live broadcast, the people in the West are shaking with excitement. Messages from Western people appeared one after another. God, I can only say, this is the greatest and most miraculous scene. Robert, Ice Age Antarctic Research Station. This research station represents our foothold in the warmest region of the Earth again. The East is really the hope of mankind. They are not only saying that, they have also done it. Mars, the West has completely become a land of agriculture and industry, and the Antarctic has been successfully developed. In tens of thousands of years, there has never been such a powerful place. They have achieved the birth of one by one miracle. At this moment, it's like a great era is breaking out. The second scene is also appearing. That is the scene of the offshore platform. The first act is the formation of the Antarctic Research Station. The second scene is the formation of the Pacific offshore platform. This is the Pacific Ocean. When the satellite of the Pacific Ocean appears, the live broadcast will appear clearly in front of the people around the world. For the first time, people in the East felt that the Pacific Ocean and the Ice Age had reached what extent. During the civilization period, the East successively evacuated the coastal cities, and the coastal cities were submerged. In the following 20 years, they have been living in the inland cities until the wild buildings on the seaside rose. This was the East, and they didn't understand the far seas, especially the Pacific Ocean. But when the scene before them appeared, they began to understand. As for the people in the West, they don't even understand, because when there was a tsunami and a plate collision, they were desperate and fled the seashore. They would never know that now the Pacific Ocean has reached its limit, and now a new picture appears. The first wave. This is a huge wave of hundreds of meters high, but when these waves appear, the whole world seems to be shaken. A huge wave crashes. The waves on the sea surface are surging. The waves are boiling. The tsunami wave after wave. The waves are a few hundred meters high, and the highest is close to 300 meters. The height of 300 meters is close to a 90-story building. It can be said that when this kind of wave hits it, it can break almost everything. The highest wave in human history is only more than 100 meters. At the same time, the weather on the Pacific Ocean is extremely bad, worse than those blizzards in the mainland point above the Pacific Ocean. All the winds, cold winds, and tornadoes hung directly those huge waves hundreds of meters high, and finally collided with everything. It can be said that it really interprets what is called the Earth is turned upside down. Chapter 406. However, under this extremely harsh environment, an army green, dark black icebreaker appeared. The icebreaker is nearly 1,200 meters long and adopts a horizontal icebreaking structure. After the icebreaker appeared, the last giant icebreaker appeared. Then, everything watching the live broadcast was quiet, because a sea slab nearly 1,000 kilometers long appeared. When the sea platform appeared, the surrounding waves stopped, because this slab covered all the waves. Any wave, any tsunami, any wave, any storm and rain are all suppressed by this sea slab. At the same time, the sea slab is 1,000 kilometers long, and there is an airship flying chariot on the sea slab. There are factories in the east. There are many brightly growing trees, flowers, and grasses. There are also neat rows of flying tanks, icebreakers and more. The last scene is impressively above the sea platform, with lighthouses standing on the sea. The lighthouses are shining brightly. While the lighthouse is lit, above the lighthouse, small red flags are flying, and there are thousands of red flags. When thousands of red flags appeared in front of everyone, everyone was quiet. Their restless, excited, and fearful hearts all turned into a kind of emotion, that is shock. They were completely shocked by the epic scene in front of them, and everyone really understood why the East was so terrifying. In the Great Era, every Western citizen left a message in the live broadcast room with surprise, and their voices and emotions were extremely complicated. Robbie, I just want to say that this is the Pacific Ocean in the Ice Age. The waves are hundreds of meters high. This is a real forbidden zone for humans. The icebreakers in the East are scary enough, but they actually built a sea slab crazy. It's crazy, which means they can perform any behavior or operation on the ocean. Merrick, I have seen countless national forces in major disaster movies, but I have never seen such a means of confrontation. It is horrible to the limit. Their horror, their crazy plans, one by one in the East. The plans are all proving the Great Era before us. Collins, got how horrible this conference in the East is. The Antarctic Research Station and the Pacific Ocean platform are all just displays, just for the next Kunlun Mountain Conference. At this moment here is Kunlun Mountain. The airship is 200 meters high. In the airship viewing platform, Ying Ziyue is also looking at the Antarctic Research Station in the live broadcast room, and also at the Pacific Ocean platform. Then he closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes, he seemed to have transformed into the universe, and he seemed to be in every plan. He could clearly feel the difficult steps of the Antarctic Research Station, and he could also clearly know the process and risks of offshore platform construction. Then he opened his eyes, his fist clenched again unknowingly. Behind Ying Ziyue, Li Hao spoke, Group Leader, the next few layouts will all be broadcast. Before the Kunlun Mountain meeting, everyone must know that before the age of class comes, everyone must know that a new era is here. At this moment, global live news, new pictures appear, new videos appear. This is not the Pacific Ocean. nor is it an Antarctic research station. This is an African state, right square bracket. 0 Find flowers. Now there are two words appearing in the live broadcast screen. That is, the Oriental Chinese says African state. At this moment, when this scene appears, netizens in the West and netizens in the East are beginning to get complicated. To be precise, everyone starts to think of Africa in the civilized period point. It represents the equator, and the country in the center represents the heat. At the same time, it also represents the countless wild animals in the prairie. It also represents the huge area, and also represents the race point. But after the Ice Age, accompanied by waves of disaster such as plate collisions, this place became silent, and no one knew about it anymore. Because under the Ice Age, no one cared about other things. Area 0. But now that the satellites to the east have appeared here, the hearts of the people all over the world can't help but tremble. They all know that, if they are paid attention to by the east, then there will be epic development next. Everyone started to get excited. They all started to get excited. The first act has not yet appeared. In the snow and ice that lasted for 2012, everyone was stuck seeing it. The first picture of Africa came out point. That is countless chicken blood. It can be said that the thickness of the snow here has reached a height of 100 meters, and it is a forbidden place for real humans like Antarctica. It belongs to death, while in non-states, it belongs to non-human settlements. Because there is 100 meters of snow, it can be said that when you accidentally fall into the water, you will fall into a snow pit with a height of 100 meters 100 meters high, which means that it is a 30-story building. Even if it doesn't fall to death, it will be submerged in it, and then suffocated to death. But now, the East has come to open up. Death Chapter 407. The first hot search in Eastern news, that is the global live broadcast room. The title is, African States Nearing 23 Years of the Ice Age. At the same time, there is a guiding language in the live broadcast room. The guiding language was written by Ying Ziyue himself. That is, during the 23 years of the Ice Age, many people have forgotten about this place. Because of the collision of plates, and for various reasons, they have forgotten the prairie here. This is not a land of civilization, but there are countless rare animals, and this is also one of the most important 380 projects in the East. Now you will see a different glacier land. Everyone knew when the live broadcast appeared at this moment, because no one would have thought that the country as the center of the equator was full of heat, drought, and dryness in the past. So no one would have thought that it is now accompanied by gusts of wind. The first picture has appeared, and that is the snow, that is close to 100 meters deep. The terrifying degree of snow seems to be able to submerge any existing mechanical buildings. All the high-rise buildings of mankind will be instantly submerged in this kind of front point. Even the height of the prairie has increased by nearly 60 meters, showing the degree of snow and glacier coverage. So when Glacier Africa appeared, people in the West and other people, as well as people in the East, were all excitedly sending out barrages. Rick, for nearly 23 years, no one has ever been to this area. It is almost conceivable that this place has truly become a place of despair for human beings. It is terrible. This is a real forbidden place. I just want to say that this is the darkest for human beings. The prairie is extinct because of ice and snow. The species is extinct. Nearly tens of thousands of species of animals and plants are extinct. I just want to open up the East. You will see 1. The development of the largest sector, which should be included in the Chronicle of the World. A reminder text appeared in the live broadcast room point at this moment. The heat is extremely high. In the excited watching of the whole people, a real African scene appeared point. I saw that the height of the African prairie has exceeded 60 meters in the civilization period, and it has directly become a large African glacier. The whole iceberg covers the grassland, and it looks like it is 10,000 years of ice, with terrifying patches of air currents, and the white snow is whizzing frantically. So one after another snow-capped mountains. So the snow-capped mountains collapsed one after another. However, it is at the core of this scene. It's like the roar of thunder, and it's like the sound of explosion. Everyone knew about Osaka as it appeared later. This is the sound of the engine, the most explosive and fanatical engine. I was in Africa for 4 weeks before, one after another airships appeared. Blizzard Chariot, appeared. Snow shovel robot appeared. At the same time, it also has a smart lighthouse to become a snowman. The smart lighthouse means yes, he will then melt a fixed area in a certain area. At this moment, the airship began to fall continuously. Smart lighthouse, along with one lighthouse on the glacier. The lighthouse began to absorb heat energy and then convert it into the ultimate melting energy. A large piece of white snow began to melt in an area of 500 meters at a height of 200 meters. One can see one after another black iron pipes thrown into the glacier among the snow-capped mountains. This scientific name is called second substance melting iron pipe. The solubility of iron pipes of this material means that they will automatically melt within 1 to 6 months and automatically dissolve once, which is truly environmentally friendly. 0. At the same time, during those 4 weeks of snow shoveling, chariots carrying out large-scale residual snow, one after another giant ice blocks were crushed into pieces, and these include, and then ice cubes, are pushed into the water, and then the ice cubes are broken. This scene is definitely just the beginning. Because it's not just blizzard chariots, those giant robots in operation began to deploy small bomb demolition. Beware of avalanche bombs. Then slices of avalanches appeared, and those slices of avalanches were directly fixed in direction and then flowed into the sea. This is the greatest testimony of mankind's fight against disasters. Chapter 408. This is a great snow removal project. Blizzard chariot, throw the airship, giant robots. There are also avalanche bombs, and so on, one device after another. There are also icebreakers. One can clearly see iceberg after iceberg washed into the sea, and finally the icebreaker pulled the iceberg to the Pacific Ocean. Because of the current amount of snow and icebergs in Africa, it cannot be completely poured into the African Quartet Sea area, otherwise it will be submerged here. Border and inland cities saw under the live broadcast. People saw a miraculous scene in front of them, that is, large-scale snow shoveling in Africa, and white snowflakes appeared. Pieces of avalanche appeared. At the same time, in the waters of Africa, 0 to a towering white snow mountain was pulled by an icebreaker and transported to other waters in the 10 selected fixed areas in the Quartet of Africa. They clearly appeared. The snow in those areas has disappeared. One by one red flags began to be inserted in these areas. At this moment, people all over the world once again saw the color of African land. To be precise, they once again felt the signs of the past on the prairie. There were a lot of ice sculpture specimens, and there were countless wild animals that escaped or not. At this moment, when the red flag was inserted under the 10 factory sites, in the global live broadcast room, the barrage burst. Look, I just want to say that I have never seen such a miracle. In this situation where all the connections are 67 meters of snow, Dongfang has carried out program projects one by one, blizzard chariot, and smart snow melting. There are also avalanche bombs, airships, and other procedural projects. They seem to have never been afraid of anything. What they think is how to conquer and break all obstacles. Some projects are the greatest. They don't need to think about any plans. They only need to deal with all the blockers in front of them. Now I see the attitude of the East here, and they will be remembered by the world. At this moment, a new line of characters appeared in the global live broadcast room at the same time, because Ying Ziyue once said that history must be correct. The Chronicles of Glacier World at 8:30 AM, January 1, 23rd, in Africa, during the 23 years of snowstorms and glaciers, Africa's continued area reached 63 meters. This has truly become a forbidden zone of terror. The East has adopted 5 types of machinery: avalanche bombs, melting iron pipes, and blizzard warfare, cars, icebreakers, snow shoveling robots, and then 5 plans were simultaneously advanced, and simultaneously large-scale bombing. Subsequently, 10 giant engine factories were successfully opened up. This was called the New Year in the 23rd year of the glacier. It is one of the 10 engineering miracles of mankind. At this moment, the patrol robot guarding the Kunlun mountain for 4 weeks. There are also military green airships, which are less than 100 meters away from the meeting room point. Ying Ziyue took that giant airship, only 50 meters away from the meeting room point. The height of 1,700 meters between the top of the mountain is a huge meeting room point. The total area is 500 square meters. for weeks full of floor-to-ceiling windows, double temperature, and temperature adjustment device. This is like building a palace on the top of a mountain. This is a building that could never be completed during the civilization period, but it is now realized here, gently standing on the top of Kunlun Mountain, and it is amazing. But now Ying Ziyue is not in a hurry to go. He just watched quietly. Then he said to the engineer Li Heyo, "The live broadcast has finished playing the airship. After the 5 major projects are completed, everyone has begun to enter the conference room. Okay team leader, then, next, it is not an Antarctic scientific research certificate, nor is it a Pacific offshore platform, nor is it 10 factories in Africa. This is a well-known place in the world, and that is Siberia." This moment, after the global live broadcast, the screen changes again. A new screen appears. The screen title is Welcome to Siberia, Chapter 409. Here is the same as Africa. For 23 years, there has been resistance among the civilized natives here. They built underground bunker and everything, but then they all failed. Then the civilization here disappeared. The civilization here is completely frozen and fractured. During the civilization period, this was the coldest place in the world, and there were the coldest villages in the world. After the Ice Age, it has become the coldest single area. In other words, the temperature in the single-sided area has reached the extreme sub-zero temperature. In the 19th year of the Ice Age, the National Bureau of Investigation and Surveying once reached the sub-zero temperature limit of Lance. You must know that this is still an inland city in the northern hemisphere, so you can see the horror of such extreme weather. So now the live broadcast has not yet appeared, but 4 clear characters appeared in the live broadcast room, embellishing this vast and deserted area, that is Siberia. At first glance, everyone's feelings about this area is despair, a place of despair deep in the bones to be precise. This place is different from the rolling snow in Africa, and it is also different from the Antarctic Scientific Research Station and the Pacific Island blizzard. This is not the turbulent Pacific Ocean. All the sights, all visions, human eyes can observe everything, satellites can survey everything. That is the vastness to the extreme whiteness. Everything is snow white. Everything is snow white. But humans have no traces here. Here, all the pictures are pale, with endless desolation. In the current history, this is an extremely common scene. At the same time, there are hilly areas in Siberia, as well as some huge crater areas. These are the phenomena caused by the survey during the civilization period and the collision of geological plates. This means that in the vast white snow, no one may know that it is a seemingly flat land. It may be a pit of 200 to 300 meters, so this makes the survey extremely difficult, because you will never know whether the bottom is flat ground or a deep glacial trench of hundreds of meters. So this is a reason for the extinction of this local civilization. They are all buried underground, and the ground is vast. It looks quiet and peaceful, but it actually contains murderous intent. So when this scene of Siberia appeared, the people in the West, some scientific research professors had long been able to see that they were a little excited and trembling to leave a message. The Antarctic Research Station, the Pacific Ocean Platform, and the top 10 factories in Africa seem to be extremely dangerous, but its degree of danger is not extremely high, and it can be called dangerous. It is Siberia, the place of human civilization in the past, but now it is still a forbidden zone of human civilization. Root, I suddenly discovered that the Eastern engineering seems very strange. Antarctica, Africa, the Pacific, Siberia, in the civilized world, these are called the 4 unique forms of regions. The Ice Ages called it as the 4th of the 10 most forbidden places in the world. It seems that they are laying out something in the eastern countries. This is really a terrifying and boundless plan. But now that the heat is extremely high, many netizens are discussing with excitement. Especially Western people know better that the live broadcast of Siberia appeared. That means that the East is about to start construction here. In the current era and even 1 million years later, it is unique that these 4 major areas can be developed at the same time. And now, within the global live broadcast screen, the screen has completely changed. This is 1x1, automatic cruise report car. The sky seems to be howling. There are horrible roars of engines, and the sound of mechanical rotation resounds everywhere. This is a bursting noise. All the areas present have been affected. It can be said that the first to appear is the automatic cruise blizzard chariot in the east. This blizzard chariot has a penetration test of 300 meters underground, which means that they have a sensor, good money, vehicle that can sense the depth ahead, the danger of the pit, and then the area judgment point. The second step is an automatic program robot. This is a combined deformable robot. On the one hand, they can run fast on the snow. On the other hand, they can deform, and then shovel a large area of snow, to blast the snowy mountains and icebergs. So quickly enter the safe mode group for the area point. The third step is the emergence of high-speed tanks 1x1. The task of these high-speed tanks is to clear a highway, and then send maintenance robots to protect the integrity of the highway. At this moment, Siberian civilization has been developed. Chapter 410. And in the sky, the iron pipes were automatically melted 1x1, and visual devices all appeared 1x1. So, if you take the perspective of God, you will see a strange scene. This scene is to form a circle with Siberia. In the center of Siberia, you can see a sea of snow. Pieces of water flowed in all directions, and began to gush out of Siberia. From the center to the inner periphery of Siberia, those snow-capped mountains, glaciers, snow, ice, and rain all quickly began to disappear, and they all quickly began to fade away. This is how the current civilization model shows. The glaciers were collapsing to the naked eye, and then the blizzard chariot quickly shoveled snow. Then the robot began to place avalanche bombs 1x1 on the big glaciers. Those glaciers were cracked, and then the robots took out the broken ice out of Siberia. All miraculous scenes are reappearing in front of me, showing 380 amazingly. Then a line of font typed by Ying Ziyue appeared in the global live broadcast room. The font content was at 9 AM on January 1, 23rd of the Ice Age. Siberia, the center of human mineral resources, was successfully opened. A female general. This will be the first time in the East that the 4 forbidden areas will be developed at the same time. This is called the 4 Nightmare Development Journey. And this is just the beginning. It is now located in Kunlun Mountain. At this moment, there is still 20 meters away from the main center of the conference room. The giant airship Ying Ziyue was riding in was 20 meters away from the meeting room, as if he could reach it with his hand point. But those 100 or 200 meters away from Ying Ziyue were flying chariots, airships, etc. all came to escort, and they all came to escort. Now on the viewing platform of the airship, Ying Ziyue can clearly see through the checkered glass that this is a cross-cut mountain top at 1,787 meters. In this mountain area, he felt as if he could reach out to the meeting room of nearly 500 square meters, with panoramic windows. It looked magnificent and shocking. It was a very beautiful meeting room. But the airship stopped at a distance of 20 meters, because Ying Ziyue spoke very well. The 4 forbidden areas in Antarctica, Africa, the Pacific, and Siberia have all been played, and the 4 chassis are all closed. Now let the people around the world, whether they are in the East or the West, let them know what is next, regardless of their identity. On the screen, after this scene is over, the real Kunlun Mountain Conference is the real civilization promotion conference. At this moment Ying Ziyue finished speaking. Li Hao showed his worship again. At this moment, he knew how terrifying Ying Ziyue's layout was, covering the 10 major regions of Antarctica, Siberia, Pacific Ocean, Mount Everest, and Africa, across the 5 taboo places of civilization. Then opened the Kunlun Conference, opened the Earth Promotion Conference, which means that this is part 3/4 of the Zhulang rebirth plan. It can be said that Ying Ziyue is truly the identity of the hand of God. He is watching the chess pieces of the common people in the world, and then he drops one after another. Li Hao picked up the headset and spoke. Let's start the last live broadcast. 5 major layouts, 5 major presentations, and 5 major explosions. Just for this moment, all people in the world, every clear thinking, every existence, every living person, they should see, we should have witnessed what a God's plan looks like. Now the live broadcast screen appears, the fifth aspect of the world, Mount Everest. This line of words appeared in the live broadcast room, and all the people in the east and the west who watched the live broadcast were stunned. Each of them was stunned. Everyone feels some chill from the bottom of their hearts, and everyone knows what a layout that covers everything. Chapter 411. Now the clear glacier chronicles appear incomparably clear, and the east is showing historical changes one by one. Chronicles of the Ice River Antarctic Chapter. The first ice age at 8:30 on January 1, 23rd. The Antarctic Research Station was officially established. The Antarctic Research Station will be responsible for the most dangerous areas on the Earth. Global weather surveys, environmental surveys, geological surveys, oceans and other global integration. The nature of the survey. This is the role of the South to Antarctic Station. Chronicles of the Glacier Pacific Chapter. The second is a Pacific offshore platform. At 8:45 am on January 1st, 23 of the Ice Age, the Pacific offshore platform was formally integrated and established. The total platform coverage is close to 1,000 kilometers. It is currently the first semi-permanent giant-in-shape islands, covering 1,000 kilometers, covering tens of thousands. The military fleet, as well as icebreakers, icebreaker aircraft carriers, can be called the largest naval center in the total ice age of the civilization century, and it is also called the total core installation center of the ocean. Because of this, the offshore platform is located at the southern latitude of the Pacific, which means that every icebreaker there can go to any area in the world, and can manage and control the increase in personnel in any area etc. Chronicles of the Glacier African New Civilization Factory. At 9 am on January 1, 23rd of the Ice Age. Africa, where the flying boat was covered with snow for nearly 23 years, ushered in the hope of human history. That is, the East launched 5 snow shoveling devices, followed by blasting snow shovel, and the icebreaker transported icebergs. It can be said to have performed one by one unimaginable feats in history. And then, under global attention, the world's top 10 planetary engine factories have been built. This is also the first time that mankind has come to the dusty ice and snow civilization. Chronicles of the Ice River Siberia. Siberia on January 1, 23rd of the Ice Age. There are many records about Siberia. This is a truly no man's land. It is full of countless deep pits, countless ice and snow, and countless blizzard signs that can destroy everything. This is the most terrible area. But then the East showed their procedural skills one by one. They carried out a perfect and stunning snow shovel, and carried out every commendable and shocking city project. Then, pieces of blizzard were quickly cleared, which was call it the head of the current civilization. We can say these four. The first Antarctic Research Station is mainly responsible for the survey and management of global meteorology, geology, oceans, temperature changes and other special geological surveys. The second Pacific Maritime Center is mainly responsible for sea sand management, maritime control, maritime global support, global strikes, and global. The escort, at the same time, also has a large area of maritime security platform, which means that the East has built a safe road to the business and trade system at sea, and also built an extraordinary terrorist maritime army, which has never appeared in the outside world past Zero Fine Flowers. The third African state. Africa has opened up 10 major engine factories. These are the 10 most important engine factories. And at the same time, the African prairie is being developed, and then it will open up the extra large level of plant and animal life, because the African state's plant specimens are mostly animal specimens, so it is very suitable for another animal brutal evolution. This will be the largest animal evolution in the Cambrian. Perhaps people will see the emergence of dinosaurs, saber-toothed tiger, Tyrannosaurus, etc. Fourth, Siberia. The development of Siberia is even more important, because the development of Siberia is the development of civilization, which means that Siberia is rich in minerals, contains abundant underground resources, gasoline and other resources. This is a mine in Siberia, so the development of Siberia will be an Earth-level gas station, so it is extremely important. And now, 4 clear development journeys have started: Antarctica, Africa, Siberia, Pacific Ocean. Now, it's time for a truly new era to be opened up. That is, Mount Everest is now in the global live broadcast room, and a new title appears, and the content of the title is impressively Mount Everest is dead. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412. Mount Everest. There are too many records about this mountain. Kinabalu, Holy Mountain, Mega Voice, the first mountain of civilization in the past. It can be said that all the records on this mountain are stalwart. One by one shocking record. It seems to be the first giant mountain, and it seems to be the place where a certain civilization originated, and now it is Mount Everest in the global live broadcast. A few words appeared, the barrage exploded, and everyone was extremely excited. 38 Louis, Mount Everest. The Ice Age is nearly 23 years. I have never seen Mount Everest again, and now I hear Mount Everest, I only feel the whole body trembling. You know, this is the period of civilization. This is the greatest building of this period, not one of them. Dongfeng's 4 major layouts, the last one is not all Mount Everest. They are crazy. They straddle the world's 5 most dangerous areas, preparing to build this nightmare place in front of them. The East is too terrifying. Snow. I just want to say that the management of the East are really nightmare level people. 4 major layouts, the last layout, covering Mount Everest. What are they going to do? Offshore management, mining in Siberia, construction in Africa. The last Siberia. This is the 23rd year of peace. The East is still carrying out the Zhulang rebirth plan, the global snow country train global track, and so on, one after another giant plan. It is said that the East still has scientific and technological projects. Sessile, this is a crazy country. You have to know that the city of science and technology in their country is still undergoing countless transformations of the city of steel into a city of science and technology. It is a majestic city of science and technology. City, but even so, they are still carrying out 5 major plans, and they are still going on at the same time. This country is not only a nightmare, but also a monster. This is simply a country among the monsters. This moment, not only the people in the West, but everyone in the East is also very excited. Children born in the Eastern Ice Age are under 22 years old, and they are all excited to send bullets. Chen Shuiwen, I don't know how strong we are, but I only know that in the Ice Age, we were so strong. Zaozi, I just want to say that in the Ice Age, we represent invincibility, and every construction of our team leader represents perfection. At this moment, in the cheers of the whole people, in the excitement of the whole people, the glorious and enthusiastic appearance of the first act, when this scene appeared, the global approach was quiet, and that was the appearance of Mount Everest. Mount Everest in front of me is a giant picture that can only be captured by satellites, because the iceberg in front of me is too huge, majestic and huge. The iceberg is covered with a layer of snow, like snow-capped mountains or icebergs. It is the knowledge of nature, which is a mountain of huge boulders in a region. Stretching, undulating, towering, straight into the blue sky. It is too huge, so huge that everyone dare not look directly at 0. Then, the data of Mount Everest appeared in the live broadcast room. Mount Everest, the total height of the Ice Age is 11 meters, is currently the 2nd highest mountain in the world. And the first highest mountain is a restricted area, but this mountain is still the world's worst nightmare mountain, so it can also be called the world's number 1. At the same time, this mountain has 1/3 of the glacier structure, and 1/3 of the mechanical structure. At the same time, there are snow and icebergs. Possessing a strong fusion force means that it is extremely strong. In the decades-long avalanche, the 10,000-meter high Mount Everest gradually formed, reaching 17,000 meters within the initial height, and then continuously the avalanche, the last 11,000 meters left, reached an extremely strong 5.5 when This row of data appears. The huge 11,000 meter snow-capped mountain means an avalanche, just like a 100-meter high flood, crashing like crazy. Everyone watching the live broadcast now knows how terrifying the scene before him is! 11,000 meters. To open up a great project here, the difficulty here is not only desperate, but really reach the hell difficulty. But now the East is coming. Chapter 413. What experience do you have? If you see the Everest summit during the civilization period, then you will experience the majestic height and see a piece of rolling snow-capped mountains. Will see scenes of shocking icebergs. I will also sight the continuous ups and downs of the world's highest mountain. Majestic beautiful mountains and rivers, beautiful scenery, and a forbidden place on Earth. Point. If you have any experience of seeing the Everest summit in the Ice Age, then all the experience will be exhausted. Point. All the freshness will disappear. The emotion that humans have is pessimism, endless pessimism, because there is only a giant snow-capped mountain nearly 10,000 meters high in front of me, rolling up and down, covering a layer of mountains. It seems that the giant Zero-2 horror has reached its limit. Point. At the same time, accompanied by the sound of snow and wind, the sound of iceberg collapsing. Point. The Zufeng Glacier collapsed deeply, and the sound of fragmentation seemed to tear everything apart. On this 10,000 meter high iceberg, the emotions that humans possess are despair, endless despair. This is how humans feel about Mount Everest. But as for now, when people all over the world use a satellite perspective, or 360-degree satellite perspective, a half-mountain perspective captured by personnel, and a machine-captured perspective from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain, etc. When viewing Mount Everest from multiple perspectives, people all over the world can feel how terrifying it was when the Ice Age came here. This is definitely one of the hardest places to develop. The overall height of the mountainside is 4762 meters, and the altitude pressure is 1.26. The wind speed is at level 7.7, and there are thunderstorms, snowstorms, and hail in extreme weather. It is also equipped with snow-capped mountains and ruptured glaciers. The location is the cross-cutting mountain range at the 1/3 height of Mount Everest. This is a current avalanche bombs from the east. It can be said that a cross-cutting area has been exploded. The total kilometer is about 4 kilometers, covering a rolling mountain range. It looks extremely majestic At the same time, this mountain range is extremely straight. In the first act, a large piece of flat ground appeared, and then on the flat ground, it began to appear a factory shed with an all-metal structure in the east. There was a strong wind in the factory, and then a new structure appeared. That is, the fully enclosed military building, the Jinfeng factory, and some laser shock devices. This is just the first change of Mount Everest, but even so, the breath has completely changed. That is, as if this Mount Everest contains extremely terrifying military power. Just a few laser cannons on the outermost periphery, with bursting power. Then the second act appeared. There are rows of laser cannons, cruise missiles installed in the Hengduan Mountains, fixed cruise missiles, global cruise missiles, timed cruise missiles, automatic cruise missiles one by one, and particle impact devices. The laser strike device can be said that countless devices are arranged neatly and gathered into a disk. Point. Then this is only the display of the second military strength of Mount Everest. As for the remaining 8/10ths of the military strength, none of them are displayed. They are all hidden in the construction shed. But even so, when the picture of Zhu Feng disappeared, the world, especially the people in the West, was shocked. Many Western people now leave messages, and these Western people are all managers or scientific researchers in the civilization period. Dr. Marco Scientific Research. I now finally know the Antarctic Scientific Research Certificate, the Pacific Offshore Platform, the 10 largest African factories, the Siberian Mine, the Civilization Center, and Mount Everest, the strategic military base in the east. I can only say that it is simply horrible. Before this meeting, the 5 major layouts were all laid out. This is simply a crazy country. Drive Eric. Covering the 5 countries. Across the 5 countries, the West has become agriculture and industrial bases. All the geniuses are all shocked, all the heroes doubt life, and no one can be anymore. The opponent of this team leader, he is simply a madman. Drive gerunds. This is probably the most terrifying project at present, starting from the place of the Ice Age, and then one by one confrontation project, one by one infrastructure project, and then to unprecedented in the Zhulang rebirth project. The last 5 projects will go to the dance club to meet. Who would have thought that after the Ice Age, it would be this giant era? Chapter 414. Although the global barrage is exploding, but the global live broadcast, the next screen will not be changed because of anyone's barrage. It will slowly open with the times without any changes. Now the world's first live broadcast screen. This news has changed. This news' Kunlun Mountain Conference text appeared in the global live broadcast room. At the same time, text explanations appeared. First of all, the Kunlun Mountain Conference is regarded as the second important conference in the 23rd year of the world, and the first most important conference is the Taishan Zhulang Rebirth Project. The second important meeting is the Kunlun Mountain Meeting. This meeting will cover the last step of the Zhulang Rebirth Plan, so it is also called the Settlement Meeting, and it also determines the progress across the era. So extremely important with the appearance of lines of clear text in the live broadcast room, the scenes on the scene began to switch, and that is what everyone is looking forward to, and people all over the world are waiting. The most important picture is Kunlun Mountain. At this moment, the second peak of Kunlun Mountain is 10 meters away from the meeting room point. Ying Ziyue was holding his hand on the largest military green airship viewing platform. He appeared in the picture again, with a relaxed and happy smile on the corner of his mouth. Then he looked at the live broadcast platform with a full smile, nodded at the same time in the live broadcast room. 5 pictures from all over the world appeared one after another at the same time. They are the heads of the Antarctic Research Station. Salute and report. The person in charge of the Pacific Offshore Platform reports. The head of the 10 largest factories in Africa reported. The head of the Caping Female General of Siberian Civilization reported. There is also a report from the head of Mount Everest. But after these 5 aspects appeared, Ying Ziyue shouted in the live broadcast room, all preparations. We will enter a new era next. Now let us enter the Kunlun Mountain Conference. Then the atmosphere began to change at this moment. This was the most solemn Kunlun Mountain meeting at present, and it started directly with a trace of airship. Ying Ziyue and the key group of people either took the blizzard chariot, or the flying chariot, or took the jetpack, and began to fly to the top of the second mountain one after another. The height of the mountain is more than 1,000 meters and the panoramic glass meeting room covers an area of 500 square meters. There are panoramic information projections around the meeting room. These are all detailed projections. When these void projections appear, the detailed picture has appeared. It can be said that this is like a modern information projection center standing on the top of a mountain. The meeting is a square meeting room. 500 square meters. In addition to the floor-to-ceiling windows, the rest is one by one Eastern-style chandeliers, as well as a long wooden table, which looks extremely Oriental style, and also looks very ordinary, extremely normal. But inside, there is the murderous spirit of a shareholder. That is, the arrangement of everything, and the style looks like the style of the Qin dynasty, so it looks extremely murderous. Then in the picture, the Western people saw their agricultural manager Eric, then they saw the industrial manager Alex Robchu, subsequently, Eastern Airlines, Honors AO, Air Manager, Lighthouse Manager, etc. Global Train Manager, Offshore Platform Management Award. There were also airship managers and military robot managers, one by one, and high-level team leaders, all began to appear one after another, and then sat in the seats of the conference room. Everyone looked solemn and everyone stood up straight. Ying Ziyue was sitting in the first position. He didn't sit down. He looked at the high-level people around Eric, Alex and Rob. Feel the power of the Great Collection. Chapter 415. In the conference room on the top of Kunlun Mountain, the report resounded. At present, the Western agricultural greenhouses have opened the greenhouse chain channel, which means that each greenhouse has been arranged, the grain storage has been completed, and the greenhouse has been completely formed. Western agricultural engineer Eric salutes and reports, and at the same time he submits a project bill. The head of the report. Every factory in Western industry has opened a large industrial corridor. This industrial corridor can ensure the perfect direction of the project and can ensure that each project can be carried out in real time and quickly. The chief manager of Western Industry, Alex Robb, followed salute report. Report team leader, global lighthouses, offshore lighthouses, no man's land, lighthouses, high altitude lighthouses, lighthouses in forbidden areas in the world, have all been turned on. The lighthouse will last for 7 days and 7 nights day and night. This will be the most civilized lighthouse at present. The person in charge of the lighthouse then reported, report team leader, global robots are on standby at any time, snow shoveling robots for defense robots, flying robots attacking robots, unmanned areas, automatic monitoring robots, underwater robots, etc. Up to hundreds of robots are on standby at any time, waiting for command. The head of the global total robot reports, reporting team leader, the global airship icebreakers have all been on standby. At present, the global icebreakers have entered the sea-flat platform, which can be guaranteed to be opened at any time to rescue or attack any area at any time. The head of the global airship reported, report team leader, the Eastern Steel City has all been transformed into a technology city. The core devices of each technology city have been turned on, and the core management device known as the Sky City in the West has been turned on. The air corridors have holographic intelligent protection intelligence. Strike. The core system has now been opened, and the north is known as the Giant's Paradise. The spiral-shaped tall buildings have a large-scale countermeasure against extreme cold and a large-scale countermeasure against sudden disasters. Leader of the report. Some smart interception devices outside the border have been turned on. Nuclear weapons interception devices, missile interception devices, and dangerous glacier interception devices are all being turned on. It is currently being done. The phased array radar is fully scanning, ensuring that it will be 3 hours ago. Early warning signs of danger are detected. Leader of the report. The global snow country train is being perfectly constructed and has been put into use now. All snow country trains have been run for nearly 17 times. Each run has proved that the actual plan is correct. The report is complete. Leader of the report. Nearly 7,800 artificial islands have been built in the world. Everyone's islands have not been dangerous or submerged. The encounters of each island have proved the extent of artificial islands. They are all artificial islands, and half of them are maritime military zones. Cruising the islands. The American islands are currently on standby, ready to attack. Leader of the report. The eastern seaside wall has been opened for protection, and none of them has stored energy for nearly 20 years. This energy storage can form laser shock waves, which can strike any area in the world with shock waves and laser strike particle strikes. Large area laser shocks can instantly evaporate a piece of sea in just a few minutes. At present, this attack system has been activated and is waiting for orders at any time. Report team leader. 10 Western piers can be activated at any time in the standby state, management state, and defense state. This means that the pier can manage all aspects of 6,000 islands. Leader of the report. The wind turbines, hot blast furnaces, and passenger stations in Nanfang City are on track, and they have entered the 10th and 5th generation upgrades. They have been upgraded to the 15th generation. Basically all have adopted the super tech era. At the same time, the city walls have adopted the 7th generation. The next generation graphene structure can be said to be completely coordinated. The technological city wall is completely formed and is currently in a fully open state. Chapter 416. The report team leader. The underground Great Wall Scientific Research Office has been thoroughly planned. The underground city has become the first exhibition site in the East. You are the site of scientific research and development in the East. Currently, each one is currently 5 kilometers long, with a total length of 5,000 kilometers. Nearly tens of thousands of passenger terminals have appeared in the Great Underground Wall of China, which can be used by domestic universities as well as foreign universities. Leader of the report. I'm the person in charge of the Cambrian master plan. At present, the Cambrian has completed the first life evolution. The Han country is currently conducting the second complete weekly plan. The plan has now evolved to 90%. In the next year, Tyrannosaurus rex dinosaurs, some giant fishes, and giant dinosaurs will appear completely in about a year, and the vibrant Cambrian Jurassic of the Earth will once again reappear, and life will explode. It's another brand new life plan life system. The report leader here is Mount Everest. Currently, it is equipped with laser-guided missiles, global cruise missile deterrence, bomb delivery, and global targeted strike missiles. At present, missiles are connected, and they can cruise, attack, and conduct reconnaissance in any region of the world. It can bomb any area in the world, bomb any glaciers, and is currently ready to be on standby at any time. Reporting team leader, this is the Outer Space Satellite Station. The outer space has been activated. The whole Earth monitoring device can conduct a management and monitoring status for any sudden weather, sudden terrain, and sudden earthquake sudden area on the whole Earth. Leader of the report, this is the Eye of the Moon Studio. The moon has now entered a complete detection device, which can prefabricate any danger to the Earth in the next 6 months, and then be able to defend it. The moon guidance is now open. They are all equipped with detailed openings, and can observe any minute monitoring. Leader of the report, this is the attack center of the ancient Star of Glory. At present, the air has been completely formed. At present, these routes can be directed to the whole world, any area, and any dangerous area. For the Galaxy Meteorite Group within 50,000 kilometers, it can carry out any bombing and any strike. At this moment, one by one team leader. Some team leaders did not come. They appeared in the projection. Sometimes the team leader appeared and they report. It can be said to be close. A total of nearly 1,725 team leaders are all reporting. Among them the person who came. It can be said that each team leader is responsible for the important tasks, and they are all reporting. From the people's livelihood, from the machinery, from the biology, from the scientific research, from the military bombing, from the strategic defense, etc. to a detailed plan. Seen as perfect, every plan is in perfect progress, so this scene also lasted the longest time, from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m., a total of 4 hours, but everyone in the world is watching in a daze, and they are thinking about how terrifying the layout of the East is. Those who are preparing to speak at this moment are some senior managers and senior engineers in the West. Each of them is a senior in the civilization period. Now everyone has a wealth of knowledge and experience, so their speeches are also the most sincere and also the most better of. Drive Roman Smith. I'm one of the engineers in the United States in the past. I can only say that I have never seen such a terrifying country. They have gone from the universe to any region of the Earth. They have truly achieved the layout of the entire universe. The manager of the East. This is not a human being. Human beings do not have such a high level of thinking to be able to achieve such a large layout. Right square bracket. 0 find flowers. This is a crazy existence. He really did everything. Lay out everything. I used to belong to the foreign mercenary corps of the Eagle Nation, and I knew that it was the trump card of a country point, but I never thought of it here. It can be said that as long as Ying Ziyue gives an order, he has at least 50 ways to attack any region in the world. Point. He should also have hundreds of ways to make any area disappear. Even in the face of meteorite swarms, he still has dozens of ways to strike. To be precise, this man does not need intelligence, nor does he need anyone to assist him. He stands here alone and takes a step. The next amazing situation. I can only say that there will really be such a wildos in this world. Mars, lunar satellite stations, South Pole, offshore platforms, Mount Everest, one dangerous layout, one terrorist military strategic platform. Each platform can attack any area. This is really an wildoer. It is simply a demonized existence, and at the same time he controls everything at the course and manages a wildoers. Not only are they fighting against disasters, they are also leading the proof. Covering 2 planets, 5 forbidden areas covering 1 planet. Now this is only a 3/4 proof, so it can be seen to what extent the Zulan rebirth plan has reached, or at present, or in the next 9 years, there will never be such a layout. Now, all the barrage stops, because the people all over the world are watching this meeting with all their strength, and everyone is also looking forward to the protagonist of the meeting to speak. They are all waiting for team leader Dongfang to speak about this stalwart plan. Death chapter 417. More than 1,200 high-level team leaders and more than 100 people present at the same time, escorting outside the flying chariot teams of the Blizzard Chariot Regiment, the flying backpack team, the escorting robots. It can be said that for this meeting, there are a lot of mechanical preparations, so everyone present was excited to listen to the content of this meeting. The eyes of the audience turned to the man, Ying Ziyue. He was pacing. He stood in front of the French windows and then looked down at Kunlun's Mount 9 and 7. The scenes of the scenery, the rolling mountains, the icebergs were cracked, and he looked at the Kunlun Mountains, majestic and then stretched out his fingers, as if holding this piece of world in the palm of his hand. This is a gesture he has always been accustomed to since the Ice Age. In the face of huge disasters, he always stretches out his palm and makes a gesture of grasping the world. This gesture represents that he wants to have a great showdown. So every team leader who was familiar with him started to get excited. At this moment, if someone stands in the stratosphere and looks below the earth, they will see a different posture above the earth's surface. No Man's Land, the forbidden land of high mountains and wild ice and snow, and the burial place of human civilization will see those death areas one by one. There are towering lighthouses standing next to each other, and the lighthouses are shining brightly, shining with the brightest red light. As if this land was illuminated by red light. The waves above the sea are still tumbling and boiling. Heavy waves are impacting magnificently, but there is no icebreaker in action on the ice. All icebreakers and all aircraft carriers are arranged neatly in the Pacific Ocean platform harbor, all waiting. The city wall is the second generation graphene, which is completely silver-white graphene. The whole city wall is filled with faint fluorescence, silver-white, and looks a little dreamy. In all major regions of the world, every Blizzard tank robot is lined up in the wild, lined up in a row, all waiting for orders from Ying Ziyue. At the same time, in every technology city, those buildings in the city, it seems to be transformed into an alien system building, which looks extremely magical. The air corridors in the west are connected into rows and rows, and the paradise in the north is entwined with continuous ups and downs. The core management system of the city is ready to be opened at any time, and they are waiting for the call of that person. The mysterious ancient star moon, as well as the Pacific Tsunami Center, the Antarctic Research Station, the Everest Weapon Platform, the Eastern Northern Weapon Platform, the Eastern Global Snow Country Train Attack Platform, and the Attack Platform devices one by one, are all waiting for the manager's use. It can be said that at this moment, all the major devices in the world can be controlled. Start all turned on. They are all waiting for this meeting. At this moment, Ying Ziyue is looking out the window. He is looking at these scenes that are happening under the attention of the whole city. He turned around. He didn't need to speak too much. He was dressed in a black suit. The suit was engraved with the temperature from Xihai City. This is the most stunning picture of mountains and seas embroidered by the best embroidery workers in the East. Each of the mountains and seas are stunning and dazzling, making this costume look even more enchanting. Ying Ziyue is tall and tall. He is like a steel gun, exuding the old and new era, exuding the aura of the supreme manager. Now he stared at the scene before him, and then slowly stretched out his fist. At this moment, exclusively for him, a cold, magnetic voice sounded. The next thing is divided into three things. The first thing, that is the current city passage that all of you need to know. Next, once the Earth is going out of the dense galaxy, there will be countless magnificent crises. It will encounter all the things that humans can't imagine, all kinds of weird and terrifying things. Therefore, it must be equipped with urban passages. A complete urban passage will be built in the northern Xihai City. At the same time, the Eagle Nation and the Rose Nation, the core areas of the two countries, will also build an urban corridor. At this moment, Ying Ziyue only proposed the first one, but it was already Wang Zhen, overthrowing the audience. Chapter 418. For this conference in Kunlun Mountain, how much change has the world made in the Antarctic Conference Room, the Pacific Ocean Center, the top 10 factories in Africa, the Siberian Logistics Center, Mount Everest, the Global Weapons Strategy Center, Moon Knight, Shield of Mars. Therefore, how shocking this conference should be, or how much coverage it should cover. Now there is only Ying Ziyue's first voice in the whole city. Passage 500 square meters area. The area here is not very large, but with the holographic projection can be carried out at any height in the sky, so everyone can clearly see the detailed introduction of the city passage in the projection of the meeting room point. First of all, the urban channel came from Ying Ziyue and the Eastern and Northern Scientific Research Institute, and then a super strategic plan that was created together. This means that when the earth goes through any ups and downs, or when there is an impact, the whole people can fight the disaster together. This means putting up tall buildings one after another. The large Weiwei buildings are all constructed, and then they are connected to form a complete fixed body point at the same time. In the holographic projection screen, the detailed screen also appeared. That is, the tall buildings are entangled to form a larger tall building. At the same time, there is a complete and fully enclosed passage between each city and the city, and this passage is extremely useful. This is only the first part of the global channel point, but under the global news broadcast, the people of the East, the people of the West, the people who existed in the Ice Age, everyone saw this scene. They all felt the Kunlun meeting, and it was enough to start to burst the audience. To be precise, this project has already begun to move toward terror, and there are a lot of messages on the barrage. Eric, I just want to say that, as a large-scale engineering mechanic in the civilized period, I have designed countless huge projects that can be called extraordinarily large, such as some sea-crossing bridges, some sea islands, some etc. waiting for a very well-known building. But when I witnessed the plan of the team leader of the East, I knew what is meant by an era that spanned several levels. Mr. Rob, this is the whole world. I'm an engineer. I want to look at this plan in the Ice Age. We should abandon all the eyes of the civilized world, because the East has created miraculous projects one by one, especially in front of us. This one can be called the most magnificent project at present. Who can imagine it? Covering multiple hit areas, connecting each city, forming the largest channel. Mr. Musk, I can almost imagine the emergence of a huge urban passage. Then passages will be connected again and again. Cities in the West will also be connected, and cities in the East will also be connected. Marpus, what exactly is the Kunlun Convention Oriental going to do? The first channel is quite scary. If they follow the normal schedule, they should be working on 3/4 of the Zulang rebirth plan. They really want to change this era. At this moment, the hot explosion of the global news broadcast room, everyone who participated and saw crazy comments, because they all feel that they are in this era, and they are also working hard to change this era. It is just a great 400 sure that can stay in the Glacier Chronicle, so everyone should be remembered. The meeting room on the top of Kunlun Mountain, a detailed picture appeared. This scene is extremely informative. That is the draft picture of the city passage. The picture expands. Langcheng and Guangcheng are connected, and the two majestic cities are connected by a black rectangular passage point in the passage. Humans can wear normal clothes and drive, and normal vehicles then gallop in the passage point at the same time. The core cities of the Eagle Nation and the Rose Nation can be connected, and within this city channel, controlled by the East, they can trade and exchange materials. If you stand at a height of 3,000 meters, you will see a black channel connecting all the important areas of the world point and the core installation comes from the East. This is just one of the functions of the urban management channel. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419. At this moment, when a clear urban passage appears, the draft picture presents a different style, and also presents a different color. That is the city of the sky in the south of the East. Buildings are connected, and the air corridors are stunningly appearing point at the same time. In the southern technology cities, connecting pipelines began to appear one by one. These are permanent semi-underground pipelines. These passages connect every city in the south, and those new technological cities are beginning to be full of technological colors. Finally, the sky cities in the north also showed the color of technology, which is different from other cities to the north. Is the giant's paradise, those giant tall buildings that really stretch into the blue sky. The closest giant building of 2100 meters The north is really showing a building called horror. The passage in the north looks like a cave of the earth dragon, connected piece by piece. Point afterwards, it was connected in all directions, densely forming the underground connecting passages in the north. Point then a huge black connecting channel appeared in the north and south, covering two areas. There is no need for snow country trains or levitation trains, but new energy vehicles for human vehicles, which can advance freely and come and go freely. Point in the city passage, flying backpacks, flying motorcycles, flying chariots, and other devices can all be flying forward. Point this is an oriental sketch. The whole world must follow this plan. Next point afterwards, the draft screen was planned, and the eyes of more than 100 engineers started to excite. Point as for the thousands of engineers in the projection, they did not have time to go. They are scattered in all major galaxies in the universe. They present a blue virtual projection, but they saw the detailed plan of this plan, and everyone thought of it. Next, if you live in this city. Point then it will be a great experience. The planet dominated by this new era of sci-fi intelligence is living, feeling the power brought by technology. Point at the same time, at this moment the global atmosphere has begun to change. That is, as this meeting begins, the global train in the east started, and an icebreaker above the sea began to move. Point in the sky, every airship and flying chariot began to advance, and the order of human technology was restored to nature once again. Point at the moment, this is Western agricultural greenhouse number 17, which mainly grows corn, wheat and other agricultural greenhouses. In front of most people, there are hundreds of Western farmers wearing work clothes, and then looking up at them blankly. Everyone's expressions are not only complicated, but extremely suspicious of life. Point, because a new scene appeared before me. That is, the originally silent sky regained the power of technology. The lighthouses in the distance are shining brightly with red light. The lighthouses lit up, shining brightly and sacredly on this land, as if it were a land of gods. At the same time, in the sky, a military green airship appeared in a line, and then flew around the world. In the sea not far away, in those islands again and again, the icebreaker honked the whistle, which represented that everything had begun to return to normal, and the Kunlun Mountain Conference began to get on track. Point these confused peasants in the west looked at them in confusion. They didn't know what would happen next, but everyone knew that the next era would be the unfolding of a new era, and all people would be amazed by this era tongue. And now the information on the temporary emergence of the Ice Age is extremely detailed. That is the 23rd year of the Ice Age. At 10 AM on January 1st, the first meeting proposed for the first time by Win Midnight is to create urban corridors, so that every city can be connected to each other. A city is all connected. This is the city passage. Chapter 420. And now, under the full attention of the audience, the second meeting has also begun. Kunlun Mountain, close to the height of 1700 meters, has become one of the 10 wonders of the world. The huge meeting room is one of the world's top 10 wonders. Here you can see a fully modern meeting room equipped with holographic projection, which is extremely difficult and cannot be completed in the civilization period. Point Dongfang has used projects one by one to prove that the present is extremely realistic, and it is extremely possible to complete. And now, Ying Ziyue is watched by the audience in the main center of the conference room. Point then he started the second conversation, which was more covering this time, directly covering the new academic. That's about the air corridor first, the current earth corridor. The first is the global city corridor. This can be regarded as an urban corridor. This determines the association of each city and determines the combined strength of the city. Urban corridors cover more than 400 districts, covering major cities such as the southern and northern parts of the eastern city. At the same time, each city is connected to form a huge industrial corridor for human industry, agriculture, scientific research and other industries. It can be said to be called the global currently, the most unparalleled area. Then came the agricultural corridor. There are many history and records about the agricultural corridor. The agricultural corridor is more of a large area of agricultural greenhouses. The scattered agricultural greenhouses are integrated into a giant corridor greenhouse, which means vegetables one by one, food can be connected, can be together with each other, and then work efficiency and so on will greatly increase the speed. This is the agricultural corridor. Finally, there is the industrial corridor. The industrial corridor is divided into scientific research corridors and heavy industry corridors, which are steel plants, electronics factories, chemical plants, biological cities, etc., and the mega projects are united to form a mega level. Industrial corridor. Subsequently, this means that the efficiency has increased by 67%, and the heavy industrial corridor that is being relied on has been tested twice at present, which also proves that the industrial corridor is correct. But now, in front of the world, in front of more than 1,000 engineers, Ying Ziyue proposed a brand new vocabulary, which is enough to cover the audience. It has a brand new form and a brand new structure, and then told everyone that it is what kind of form and direction to go next. That is air corridor, sky corridor. There are not many records about this corridor. During the civilization period, a total of 4 developed countries once put forward this kind of proposal. That is, to build an air corridor on the earth that can control a part of the area, which means that it can control the area of the earth's weather, temperature, rain, etc. All can be controlled, which means building an artificial weather platform. Once the air corridor is successfully completed, humans will no longer be afraid of natural disasters such as drought, heat, heavy rain, etc. But that was the suggestion put forward by developed countries one by one during the civilization period, and they were only managed and tried in a certain area. For example, a small country with a population of 100,000 in the southern glacier and northern glacier subsequently carried out this plan. As for the global target, it is completely impossible for the planet to conduct weather management. But now before the whole scene, Ying Ziyue spoke. The next thing to proceed is the air corridor plan. That's right, as everyone thought. Next, the air corridor covers the planet. The satellite channel that can control the weather is built in the air around the world, which means that when the Earth is about to leave the dense galaxy, the Earth can control the weather, control the constant temperature, and control the heat of the blizzard control mechanism, and then enter the real special civilization. The age of civilization. At this moment, when Ying Ziyue finished speaking clearly, in the air corridor, the atmosphere there was already bursting. At the first moment, the Great Air Corridor was presented. The current plan is as follows. 1. Global access. 2. Air corridors. Chapter 421. Now appearing in front of everyone, or 2 sets of plans. The first is that the global channel covers the paradise of the giants in the northern cities of the east, the Sky City in the southern cities of the east, and finally connects every city in the northeast to the south and the north. Then this is the global channel. At the same time, the rest of the world, the Eagle Country, the Rose Country, and more than 6,000 islands in the world, make up every one that can be connected. Whether it is a floating island on the sea or a land snow country, all that can be connected, must be connected. This can ensure that when the earth encounters sudden disasters, collective protection can be carried out, which means that the East can manage all people or not protect everyone, which means that it can truly be completely closed core management, all the team, all the staff. This is the global channel. This is the first plan. When this plan came out, the agricultural leader Eric had already felt the gap between the 2 eras. This is like a primitive man 10,000 years ago, and a contemporary civilized professor. The difference in progress, the amount of knowledge reserves of the 2 races, personal comparison, and so on are all different for nearly 100 years. In these 100 years, various changes and various advances have been made, but now, the agricultural leader Eric, he feels that he and Ying Ziyue from the east have this kind of contrast. The 2 seem to be quite different from each other for hundreds of years, because it was only in the plan of the first global channel. Eric felt that Ying Ziyue controlled everything. He knows that in this life and even the next tens of thousands of years, hundreds of years, or even in this extinction, there will be no one who can match it. Some people's thoughts run through tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years and millions of years. In the following eras, there are various geniuses, scientific research geniuses, mathematics geniuses, biological geniuses, chemical geniuses, astronomical geniuses, and various academic geniuses. But for these geniuses, they can only be ranked second, and even later, a total of 24 years in the Ice Age. plus 25 years of civilization. During these 25 years, the leader of the East, he directly reached the first of all geniuses, because in agricultural research and industry, there are also infrastructure and mechanical robots. And for the core control of the future smarter city, there are also defensive plans one after another, the Cambrian outbreak plan, the biological plan, and the Zhulang rebirth plan. He used nearly 25 years, and used nearly hundreds of plans, then it proved one thing, that is, in all known history, he ranked first. As for the meeting room, Alex Robb's face changed from pale to complicated. The leader of industry in the West is Alex, compared to Eric, and the city managers in the West, as well as the managers of major islands. Alex is an extremely confident person. His self-confidence is very strong. Zero fine flowers because he created cities one by one, and also managed areas one by one. It can be said that by his own power, he took over the burden left by his father's generation, taking the deep pits one by one, and then taking the people of the Rose Country from the underground city, once again in the desperate environment of the Ice Age. 0 when he comes to the surface, it can be said that one by one has created his self-confidence and created his arrogance point, but at this moment, all his pride, all his arrogance disappeared, and they all fell apart. All his proud confidence disappeared in front of his eyes, because what he really valued is the air corridor. Compared with Eric, Eric's fancy is the global channel, which is a global protection channel and a global core control channel, which means that the East can protect the world and design some areas. It means that managers will become the supreme being, because they can control everything. But what Alex Robb really values is the air corridor, because this is the most important medium for the Earth to move from a 0.999 civilization to a first civilization. Death Chapter 422. What does the air corridor mean to allow the Earth to enter the first class civilization from 0.999 level civilization? Although Alex Robb is a manager, he has been extremely passionate about scientific research since he was a child point, because he feels that future humans will definitely emigrate, so he likes this kind of academics very much. He clearly knew that the Sky Corridor was built with artificial satellites. In other words, 1 by 1400 artificial satellites are connected to form a Sky Corridor. The Sky Corridor can pour 10,000 tons of fresh water into any area, such as hot areas. At the same time, you can also bring a large blizzard to arid land. You can turn the blizzard land into a stable place and restore the ultimate appearance of the civilization. Again, it means that high altitude water vapor satellites, rockets, weather detection facilities, positioning monitoring settings, and high altitude corridors for water vapor flow are distributed around the Sky Corridor. These devices, one by one, unite to form a Sky Corridor, so Alex knows that Ying Ziyue in the East seems to be laying out. In fact, this is not only human beings entering the first class civilization, but also once the Earth leaves a dense galaxy, so many parties will enter the era of invincibility, because the current oxygen concentration is 3 times that of civilization. Now the oxygen concentration in the age of dinosaurs is higher than that in the Jurassic and Cambrian point, so some giant creatures, some stubborn creatures, all began to exist again. Human genes, blood, and bone endurance are undergoing substantial changes. Among them, the entire Scientific Research Institute in the East and South is studying this bioengineering, so Alex Robb has a better expression. He can almost see the long-term plan. That is, once the Eastern Air Corridor goes out of the Earth, then perhaps the lifespan of human beings will greatly change the physique of human beings. At the same time, on the land, it will no longer be bad weather, but the real ultra-thick weather may see tens of meters high weeds, thousands of meters high giant trees, wild forests, primitive forests, and the latest dinosaurs and mammoths. Elephant group. Except for the City of Steel, the rest of the Earth will be the voice world of the future, and the oxygen concentration has reached the extreme. So this is the layout covering nearly tens of millions of years. So now Alex, all his pride has vanished here, because Alex once regarded Ying Ziyue as an opponent. He has thought about countless ways of confrontation. That is, the cryptic Rose Kingdom develops, and builds secretly point afterwards. It joined other countries to start construction, but when a project from Dongfang Ying Ziyue appeared in front of him, he was completely desperate, and his pride collapsed. He knew that he only needed to make a quiet chess piece, because now the East is shocked. There are too many pictures. They have no less than 100 plans to destroy an Area Zero. For example, the weapon launch platform on Mount Everest is called a strategic launch base. For example, the scientific research station in the Antarctic is known to be a scientific research station, but who knows that this may be a weapons storage center. For example, the Pacific Ocean platform, which is another terrifying maritime bombing center, such as an aircraft carrier in the weather. This is a huge aircraft carrier fleet, which means that 5.5 ships can bomb thousands of airships in any area, anywhere on the Earth. There are also the lunar exploration device, the laser impact device of the ancient star of Ying Ziyue, and the combination of one strike plan is enough to make all geniuses lose all self-confidence, leaving only a deep despair, because they don't even have the emotion of resistance in front of them. Some people are geniuses. Some people specifically slam any Xihai Ziyue. Chapter 423. Now as Ying Ziyue stands up, the atmosphere there became quieter. The first global channel, managing all cities in the world. The second air corridor ensures that the Earth enters the medium of first-class civilization. Now everyone is looking forward to the third project. To know that before this Kunlun Mountain meeting, Antarctic Research Station, the top 10 factor is in the forbidden areas of Africa, the Siberian Development Zone, the Mount Everest, the Pacific Ocean platform, the global floating islands of the global snow country train, the top 10 terminals in the world, and the projects one by one are all carried out for this conference. So you can imagine the importance and shock of a meeting point, so that the atmosphere is so solemn now. Everyone present is staring at the first position of the conference room. 0 to that is Ying Ziyue. All in the global news broadcast room, the people in the west and the people in the east are all in curiosity. Look forward to. Every Eastern citizen is extremely proud, because they have someone to lead them to believe they can worship this man. This man has done the project to the extreme time and time. As for the people in the West, they only have the sound of shock. Therefore, 95% of the global news broadcast rooms are messages from Western people. Every Western public is shocked and trembling with excitement. Ricks, I just want to say that there are two major projects, the air corridor and the two projects that are connected to the world. One is more terrifying. It can be said that each project is the highest in the world. I can hardly imagine what else will come next. Mr. Odd, I have lived in an underground city for 17 years, and I have seen countless scientific research theories, but now, I'm shocked by the live broadcast of the Dongfang, which is a real engineering trend that can be called a monster. At this moment, every one of their plans is simply unprecedented. Now the barrage messages began to disappear, because all the pictures began to change. And all the pictures changed a little. That was Ying Ziyue. The 500 square meter meeting room is located on the top of a 1700 meter mountain. The panoramic glass is used for the 4 weeks, the roof and the ground. This means that you are in the meeting room, as if you are in the wild. At the same time, the meeting room is burning with a hot blast furnace, warm and pleasant. Suddenly burning. Dada, dada, then accompanied by the sound of leather boots, Ying Ziyue paced forward. His footsteps were calm, graceful, and rhythmic. Every footstep seemed to affect everyone's mood and make everyone feel solemn. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps and 5 steps, until standing next to the window, Ying Ziyue opened the window and the scorching blast furnace activated the automatic protection device, so he saw two air currents fighting against each other, hot air steam, cold air, ice, and snow air flow at 27 degrees, and minus 57 degrees. Confrontation. Then water vapor appeared, pieces of snowflakes appeared, and then, in this area where the hot and cold air currents merged, he saw the snowflakes, and saw hail on the delicate journey. This was a magical scene and the most normal weather reaction. Then in this picture, Ying Ziyue has a smile on the corner of his mouth. He prefers to see the various reactions brought about by the natural changes in the weather. Only in this way can he feel this era, just like himself. Then he looked at everyone. The third plan, mentioned only once in the civilized world, is the cosmic ladder. This moment is dead. It's quiet. All the sounds, all scholars. Everything is quiet. Only this voice is left. In the eyes of some scholars, it is about the cosmic ladder. All the information has appeared. Point first of all, the cosmic ladder is also called the space ladder. This is a kind of equipment that can lead to the sky conceived by humans during the civilization period. This is similar to an ordinary elevator, but its function is not to allow humans to ride between large gas floors, but to send humans to the Earth about 36,000 kilometers. As soon as a space station is built, this means that, after building this kind of space elevator, outer space and the Earth can exchange materials more conveniently. This is also known as the basic principle of the space ladder. Initially, this was proposed by a scholar from the old Maozi country, that is, to build a space castle in the geostationary orbit of the Earth, and connect it with the ground with a cable, to become a new shortcut to transport people and 400 objects to space. Call it the first part of the space ladder, the geostationary orbit. That is, when the aircraft in this orbit orbits the Earth at an angular velocity of x10-5 radians per second, it happens to be the same as the rotation angular velocity of the Earth point, so it looks like it's fixed in space, so it's called a stationary orbit point. Therefore, if a space bunker is built on it, and then a space ladder is built, the ladder can lead straight to the stationary orbit. Without the influence of external forces, it will become a transportation line to space point. During the civilization period, many countries have launched multiple satellites. They have mastered the first step, which is the technology of high orbit aviation into orbit. In the subsequent civilization period, the space ladder plan appeared in each movie, the space advanced infrastructure plan, and the Rose country in the civilization period also proposed the space ladder adjustment plan. It can be said that this plan is a historical leap of mankind progress, but now, everyone did not expect that Dongfang Ying Ziyue formally proposed this plan. Chapter 424. During the civilization period, the record about the space ladder is as follows. First, the first step is to launch a spacecraft or space shuttle carrying a semi-finished ladder into the geostationary orbit. This means that this space shuttle can fly synchronously with the Earth point. The second step is that the security is a semi-finished ladder, which is put down from the plane. If it is on a safe and stable equatorial sea platform, this platform is similar to the platform for launching satellites on the sea and the research platform of the Antarctic Research Station point. The third step is to fix this ladder on the platform. The fourth part is a climber powered by a laser, which means that this can ensure that the ladder can move up and down. At the same time, the ladder is equipped with carbon nanosynthetic fiber cables, which means that the quality and stability of the ladder are improving. So, when the production is successful, the concept in the civilization period is that the ladder is driven by electromagnetic energy. This ladder is similar to a vertical highway up and down, which can slowly transport people and materials to the 60,000 leftovers from the Earth kilometers high in a geostationary orbit point. The reason why the civilization period has not been completed is the need for building materials that are extremely hard and lightweight, and at the same time resistant to any corrosion. That is, nanotubes. But then nanoropes began to appear. The diameter of nanoropes is 1/5000 of the diameter of a hair, its stiffness is 10 times that of steel, and its hardness is twice that of diamond. Point at the same time, the location is an offshore platform. It must be far away from airplanes, flights and ship routes, and it must not be located in a place where storms and waves occur. At the same time, it must be able to resist lightning, wind, rain, thunder, and snow, and damage through the ionosphere every day. The atmosphere, the ability of sulfuric acid to corrode and impact from space junk. It can be said that the reason why the famous thing has not completed this plan is that the difficulty is too high and it is too scary. Now the second peak of Kunlun Mountain, a 500 square meter conference room. After Ying Ziyue spoke, every team leader present began to speak, including the Antarctic Scientific Research Station, the Moon Manager, and the Mars Launch Team Leader, and some team leaders spoke. First of all, we need to know the actual altitude required for this project. We must know that when the space shuttle is operating at a speed of kilometers per second in the geostationary orbit, it is equal to the gravity of the Earth's 36,000 kilometers at the equator, so it enters a state of equilibrium. But if let a ladder appear on the Earth's sea, then the final situation will be different. I think the best solution is to build a ladder on a spacecraft in a stationary orbit so that the centrifugal force produced by it can be the same as the gravity of the Earth. This means that the ladder can be suspended in the sky and be the same as the rotation of the Earth without falling. I just want to say that this is the most terrifying and dangerous plan for mankind at present, but it is also the most exciting plan. Mars, Jupiter and the Moon are different. The reason why this plan is exciting is that it is engineering shock. Report team leader. As one of the laser cannons launched by the ancient star of Ying Ziyue, I also think this project can be worthy of being recorded. That is, this project has a great impact. Now all the leaders of the conference room have spoken. Now they have developed a habit. That is, when the team leader of the East proposes any plan that's good, they will complete it 100% without anyone questioning it. Even if the Eastern Patriarch told them that the Earth was firing at the meteor swarms, no one doubted it. This was the prestige that Ying Ziyue had developed in nearly 100 confrontations. It can be said that by standing here, he has proved that everything about him is not wrong. Now, by the windowsill of the conference room, Ying Ziyue looked deep into the distance and looked at the cosmic starry sky. There were different waves in her eyes. This plan was very important to him. Chapter 425. Now there is a clear three-way plan. The first global city channel, the second global satellite corridor, the third cosmic ladder. No one knows how much predecessors' efforts were spent on these three plans. After a big layout a month, these three perfect and stunning layouts broke out. Just like the first global channel, this city channel master plan is magnificent and stunning. One city after another is connected, and then it forms a big city of science and technology. This means that a country may only have this city, so the level of civilization in the future world depends on the level of Ying Ziyue's overall layout. This is simply unimaginable. In the future, when a country is as huge as a city, every area is planned to be extremely perfect. Every area, every underground passage, every residential area, etc. Together. This is the significance of the urban passage. This is the satellite corridor. It can be called the most shocking satellite corridor, protecting any weather, any area in the world. It can be said that the satellite corridor is a real protection of the world in the true sense, and it is a god means that truly possesses a first-class civilization. And now, Ying Ziyue's third set of Project Universe ladder management, space. Satellites will build giant ladders, became the first large-scale cosmic ladder for mankind. This plan can be called the management channel from humans. That means that when the space ladder is completed, humans can climb the sky and then observe the universe. This was unimaginable in the civilized era. Although the films were shot one by one, no one thought that Ying Ziyue would be the first to propose it in the 23rd year of the Ice Age. Now in the meeting room, the Western team leaders are all closing their eyes. They are all thinking about the changes in the East one by one. The city of steam, the city of steel, the city of technology, the city of technology, the city of urban passages, and the city of scientific research. Levitation train, icebreaker, snow country train, global snow country train. There are also smart wind turbines, smart storage devices, smart city walls, and smart structures for generations of smart systems in the city of scientific research. Not only these, but also others. Then came the 5 major regions of the world. The Cambrian erupted again and again, until now it has become part of the 3/4 part of the Zhulang rebirth plan. At this moment Ying Ziyue was straight, and he watched at the same time that no one in the room spoke. Now he spoke. I will give the engineer Li Hao to supervise the Global City Passage project. I will personally supervise the Satellite Corridor project. I will supervise the Space Ladder project together with the engineer Li Hao. This is any demand and any call covered by this plan, all with the assistance of all major groups around the world. Now Ying Ziyue is standing next to the window, and a large window behind him is fully expanded. The smart hot air and cold air in the room once again oppose each other. forming a wall of snowflakes and a wall of hot air behind him. Scenes of subtle collision phenomena of nature appeared. This scene was extremely beautiful, but just before this scene, Ying Ziyue smiled. As for Engineer Li Hao, due to excitement, he stood up suddenly, and then saluted. Every team leader present saluted one after another, whether it's the arriving team leader or the projection team leader. Everyone knows that Ying Ziyue's order is to help. In the Ice Age, there is a very old tradition in the East, that is, when this big country is facing extreme danger, all people must unite to resist this danger. Everyone can't protect themselves. They can't unite themselves. They must all unite and protect themselves in order to protect themselves. This is the current spirit of the great powers. And now, Ying Ziyue interprets this spirit vividly and vividly. This is the collective power of the great powers. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.